this. I gotta pull it
Hey guys, we're having a few technical difficulties. Apparently Facebook doesn't think we have the most updated version of Chrome, so we're sorry for running a few minutes behind, but hello!
There it is, right there.
And welcome to, I don't even know what episode it is.
It's episode something.
Of Calls with Paul. But what I do know is that it is September 11th, and we want to recognize and acknowledge that this was a really serious day and a day of loss for our country and so many people so many years ago. But personally, it's a big day for us because it is our 15th wedding anniversary.
Yeah, 15 years ago, she said yes.
Yeah, 15 years ago, you sent me coffee ice cream to my hotel room for breakfast, and I knew then that you really knew who I was.
Yeah.
And you loved me for all of my idiosyncrasies. So anyway, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Do you want to make out now or anything?
No, that wouldn't be appropriate. But, so, we'll go out to dinner later. And then the other thing I thought today we would talk about is something that you really uncovered and dove into the other day. We're looking at a lot of investors because of the seasonality of the market. And you did a really cool thing where we looked at appreciation gains and also calculated how much money your house is actually earning you in particular neighborhoods of Austin, which I never thought of my house as earning money for me every single month, but it does, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, as long as things go really well, it does, yeah.
Before we get into that, talk a little bit about the seasonality of the market. We're entering the fall. You know, I feel like I can, the kids are back at school. I can breathe a little bit easier.
Right.
Tell me about the seasonality of the market.
Well, right now, just where we're at, we're starting to make a slow climb back from what would be the bottom of the annual year. If you look at the year and you think about it as a racetrack, think about Halloween as being the bottom, and you really back that up 30 days because it's really about when contracts are written, not when
Take
they
about
ship
30
out.
days
But
to process.
For closings, we look at Halloween as the bottom, and like June, but really May, remember, because when those contracts are written as being the top.
Yeah.
And then
Now I say hi, Issa. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, hey, Issa, how are you?
So when you say it's the bottom and there's seasonality, things will start picking up after Halloween. But what about prices? What does that mean for people who are looking to buy a home right now?
Well, prices are softer as you come down to the slower part of the year, and right now is pretty much it. Just because the velocity is slower, so sellers aren't getting the offers and the multiple offers that they often expect. This guy really wants to join us. He's clawing at my feet, but sellers aren't getting the action that they're accustomed to. Well, he might be more popular than we are. They're not getting the action that they're accustomed to. Homes are sitting on the market longer. There's more negotiations. There's more, so there's more room for buyers to step in. And the difference that we saw, and this was years ago when we did this study, but like we saw a 6 to 8% difference in price between the fall market and the spring market.
I mean, 6 to 8% difference is huge. I mean, if you're talking about a $500,000 house or a $1 million home, those numbers can really add up. And so,
very compelling.
If you've been thinking about buying or you've been thinking about investing, it sounds like this is the time of the year that you want to do that.
Yeah,
not in the middle of spring.
Fourth quarter is great if you can do it. The downside is there's generally less homes to choose from, and the piece I can't ever figure out about the seasonality is whether we just have higher quality properties on during the spring, and then maybe we just have the dregs in the winter. I haven't been able to ever suss that out, but the numbers say what they say.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about the R word.
Ooh.
Yeah. Been hearing a lot about recession, softening market.
Yeah.
I think Robert Refkin, who's a pretty smart guy and the CEO of Compass, talked about, a recession's going to happen at some time, but nobody really knows when. And the other thing about the recession is that, it probably isn't going to be as bad, right, as the last recession in housing from 2007 to 2009, just because things are different. There's a lot more protections for consumers on banking and loans and that kind of stuff. But tell us, I mean, you've done this for 25 years. You've been through up cycles and several down cycles in the Austin market. Put out your spidey sense. I know that you're not, you don't have a crystal ball, but, what do you see? Do you think a recession is coming? And what do you think that means for the Austin real estate market?
I'm in alignment with Robert. Like, it's coming. The question is when. I can tell you, like, when I look at any market across the country, what I really look at are jobs. So if you have good jobs coming to town and they're paying a lot of money for these job candidates like the Google, Facebook guys and all that stuff, you're doing well. So I feel like we're good for at least another year. I think when we do slow down, I think Austin will still be leading the charge relative to the rest of the country. Like you may have, like in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, our entire country was really hit.
But Austin didn't have it as bad.
Yeah, Austin didn't have it as bad, and I think we still have the fundamentals to make it through whatever the next thing is. Just because we have, that old supply-demand chart that we all probably studied in ninth grade.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have much supply. We got a lot of demand because people are coming to town. So I'm pretty comfortable with Austin.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it won't slow. Like we went from 2-3 years ago to this just white hot market where we would stand in line to show homes. And like I don't remember what it was. I think it was like 40% of the homes were all going multiple offer in those days, and now we have 20% of our homes going multiple offer. So you could see it already kind of slowing into a more normal kind of cadence. But what the future holds, we don't know. But markets are cyclical. It'll slow down.
It's natural. I mean, it's just part of the natural cycle. The thing I find interesting is that Austin, in some ways, I won't say insulated, but it really was, in some ways, protected during the last economic downturn. And I kind of wonder if it'll be the same now, just because we do have such really strong job growth. We have such low unemployment. We continue to top charts. I mean, all the talk about millennials, I think the most recent estimates from NestPick said that Austin was also in the top 10 cities in the nation for Gen Z.
Oh.
Generation Z, not just millennials.
Who are they?
They're younger than millennials.
Isn't that funny?
I can't remember the age
get
range.
Back to you
I
on
think it's
that.
22-year-olds. And also that number one in the state of Texas for the Gen Z generation. And so I don't know, I feel like hopefully at least when and if it comes, that we'll not feel the effects as much. I mean, and you've described it before, that it's rare that you see prices decline.
Yeah, it takes an incredible amount of pain. There's a big myth out there. A lot of times people are like, "Hey, Paul, should I wait until a buyer's market to step in?" And that makes sense to me. Like I totally get where you're coming from, but we tend to not see prices go down. What happens is people decide to lease instead of sell, or they'll do whatever they need to. But the pain that it takes for prices to recede is huge, and it takes a long time.
And so usually what you're going to see is it just flattens, right?
Yeah.
So instead of this growth that we've been seeing, it kind of hits a plateau.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Almost. Well, it's actually a very slight incline.
Still.
Like it still keeps going up, but it's just really gentle. In the last 30 years, we've had 2 instances of prices going down. Once was in this last Great Recession, and in the 80s. And in both cases, the downward trajectory was like 3 to 5%. That doesn't mean that some homes weren't hit more than others. Be careful when you're buying and make sure you think
depending
about
on where they're at.
Yeah, you got to think about resale. It really counts. And you never know when things are going to slow. For us to have a slow trajectory, some people really won and some people, didn't. So be careful.
So what does that mean for people who might be kind of riding out the current market to wait and see to invest? All this talk of seasonality and potential recession, I hear the R word and I kind of clench up and go, oh, we need to really buckle down and not spend, and we need to save.
Yeah.
Does that play true for real estate?
You don't know. Like we don't know what's coming, so it's all a gamble. For the people who want to sit on the sidelines and gamble, like they could be right. We could have something greater than the Great Recession coming. Like we don't know. I don't think that's the case. I think the fundamentals are really strong, but it's a gamble, and people have to make their decision there. I'm personally bullish, like across the country. I think the most likely scenario is that we'll have some slowdown. I don't think we'll see anything between now and after the election year. Like I think I don't know how it works, but we usually have a pretty good economy going up to elections, and then after that maybe less so.
Well, you also have mentioned that seasonality, that 6 to 8%. Is this the time for investors to get into the Austin market, this particular fall market?
I think so. That's why we're focused on them right now. I think it's the right place to be. And if you're looking to build wealth in real estate, now's the time to do it.
Your money goes further, first of all.
Yeah.
And also, I guess the way I think of it, and you tell me if I'm wrong, is that if I get in when prices are 6 to 8% lower, I'm going to automatically, by the time spring rolls around, have some equity and some appreciation.
Not automatically, but like provided it behaves like previous years, you'll be doing well with within a year or so.
Cool. All right. So all that to say, let's get into the fun numbers that you found.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about the neighborhoods. You looked at neighborhoods and you analyzed some of the popular Austin neighborhoods, and you looked at what prices sold for 5 years ago.
Right.
What prices are average today.
Well, a couple weeks ago
In August. And then you calculated the rate of appreciation, and then you did the math. So tell us some of the things you found.
Yeah, it was a real fun journey. So we played this fun game with people sometimes at closing that bought and sold with us, and the game has always been, well, how much did your home earn you per month? And we do it real specific with those guys. And so I've had this kind of ancillary data that has just shown up in my life, and some weird numbers to put it to. But our friends at Capital Title, they were nice enough to run some numbers for us, and what we came up with was, it even blew my mind. Like, I knew people were earning $2,000 and $3,000 a month just owning a home in Austin, but the numbers that I found here were staggering.
Well, talk about some of the numbers you found.
Well,
give people some examples.
Well, sure. Like, so just right up here at the top.
78704. Let's talk.
04 was off the hook. Like,
04 outperformed
these are,
every. The neighborhoods in 04 would be Barton Hills, Bolden, Zilker.
Yeah.
They outperformed any other neighborhood in Austin.
04 absolutely killed it. Like almost everything over the last 5 years was up 50%.
In 04.
So that's amazing.
Barton Hills was up 53%. Bolden was up 54%. Zilker was up 51%. Is that right? Am I reading that right? Yeah. So let's just pick Barton Hills for an example. Prices 5 years ago were $613,000 on average.
Right.
Today, prices in that same area are $939,000. What's that come up to into monthly income that your house is making you? And you could be living there.
So they were like all in the $5,000s. I can't see without my glasses.
Well, I'll read it for you. $5,430 a month.
For Zilker.
Well, no, that was Barton Hills.
Barton Hills. That's your mortgage payment.
Right, or at least close, hopefully, depending on when you bought. And if you're living there and you're letting that home draw equity, and that price, that you can think about that as sort of money in your pocket. You're not necessarily cashing in on that every month, but you certainly cash in on it at the time when you close.
It's a forced savings account. That's the way I like to think about it. Like, it makes you save your money. I
like that too.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
We're saving without sacrificing.
What are some of the other standouts besides 787 and 4?
They really all were, but what really struck me the most was the fact that, like, we had seen some slower growth, like in 78703, like Bracker Woods and some of the areas in there. And I'd been saying for a long time, and this kind of validated it, that it felt like 04 had been stealing sales from 03.
Hi, Tina. Congratulations.
And 46. Yeah, congratulations, Tina. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, she sold a property today.
Yeah,
we closed this morning.
Big day for Tina.
It was a big day for Tina. Bracker Woods was only up 9%.
Yeah.
And so, that's basically going from $698,000 5 years ago to $760,000 in August of this year. I mean, that's not shabby. That's still showing that it's making you about $1,000 a month, roughly.
It falls in line with what a normal market would do.
And that's so weird, because to me, Bracker Woods is one of my favorite Austin neighborhoods. Yeah. It's super cute, lovely homes, beautiful manicured yards, and all that good stuff.
I think it's due to blow up. Like what we're seeing. Like if you take a look, and I didn't bear this out in the document, but if you look at the properties that are really close to the river on the south side, all those are starting to hit $1 million. So people are going to now start looking elsewhere. Like, it's real popular to be in that just south of the river area right now, but as that becomes less affordable, and it sure is getting there, you'll start seeing that same group coming over to Bracker Woods and other locations.
Yeah, I mean, so when I looked at the chart, the thing that jumped out to me, and again, you're the expert here, but what jumped out to me is that you're typically your more expensive neighborhoods, the ones that are priced in the high nines to millions, Westlake, Terrytown, Pemberton, Bracker Woods was a little bit of an anomaly there because it was a little bit lower priced. Those guys saw appreciation, but it was lower than what we had typically seen. So, for example, Westlake was going from 1.2 to 1.4 million over the last 5 years with a rate of 17% appreciation, and that's around $3,330 a month. And so, those higher price point areas, people, I think there's cachet in living in 04 because you're close to the new restaurants and walkable to Town Lake and a lot of those different things.
It's the new super cool.
It's the new super cool. And so it's pulling people from those higher end neighborhoods. But I think you're right. As that area, as 04 gets more expensive, people are going to go back to places like Bracker Woods.
Well, it'll have a resurgence. Like that'll become very popular, and it's fascinating to watch how popularity changes over time. Like when I was growing up, 04 wasn't very popular. That's where Bubba lived, and now they're cooler than I would ever be. Those folks in 04.
Yes, it's very true. Yeah. Our personal neighborhood, for those of you in Northwest Hills, we always like to talk about that. In Northwest Hills, in 5 years ago, the average price point was $677,000 or $677,000. Currently, the average price point for something that's fixed up is around $876,000, and that's a 29% rate of appreciation, or it means your home's making you about $3,320 a month. You guys, pardon the noise. We have been joined.
So the dog and cat are here.
By Wagging Willow.
Come here. Wagging Willow.
Wagging Willow. Yeah, let's introduce everybody to Wagging Willow.
It's your moment on
camera.
camera.
And I'm going to digress for a minute. We got our DNA results back on Willow.
You gonna share?
Do you know what they were?
Does anybody want to guess?
Yeah, what they were is.
Do we want to hide that and keep talking and then come back?
Well, what they were is you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in trouble. We have trouble on our hands, as if we didn't already know. Ow! Dog training.
I'm gonna put her back down.
That would be good. Yeah. Okay, so we have all these stats for these neighborhoods and the rates of appreciation and what homes are making on average and earning you. This is all on the blog, so you can go to homesville.com and check it out on our blog page. If you find that your neighborhood is not on that list and you are really curious and want to see, then you can certainly reach out and we would be happy to run those numbers. A couple of other neighborhoods that we work in a lot, just to point out, Crestview and Brentwood. Yeah. 5 years ago, it was around $371,000. It's up to about $514,000 on average, with an appreciation rate of 39%, or about $2,380 a month. And then the other one I would call out would be Allendale, which was where we lived when we got married 15 years ago.
15 years ago.
And it's up 35%. And going.
I should have run numbers from when we got married to now.
15 years.
Yeah, wouldn't that have been cool?
Yeah.
Maybe on 20, I'll do that.
Okay. It's up from $591,000 to around $789,000. And you're getting about $3,450 a month in equity that you're earning.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So with all that said, Paul, tell us now what other takeaways. You talked about how you thought 04 was stealing sales from Westlake, Tarrytown, Clarksville, and Bracker Woods. Yeah. What else did you notice?
Well, the upper end is definitely slowing a little bit. Like that seems the heat on that seems to be off right now. Of course, it can turn back on at any given moment. And the other thing that I really walked away with is, hey, look, if you're in a house, keep running with it because it's making you money. And if you need to sell, let's make sure we maximize, make sure we get all that money back out for you.
It also looked like schools with good elementary schools or neighborhoods with strong elementary schools were also performing well.
Yeah, Anderson Mill was like off the hook. That one blew me away. It was 44%. They have great schools. They go to Westwood. And, but like the affordable, wonderful schools seem to have really good bang for the buck.
That's cool. So you mentioned this. So what advice would you have for sellers? I mean, I know you're consistently telling people, hang on to your property. And looking at these numbers, like if you've ever wondered why does he always tell me not to sell my property?
It's because I love you.
It's because he loves you and he wants you to make you more money. And that's why, because the longer you hold it, that appreciation is doing work for you and you're making more money every month on owning it.
Yeah.
But sometimes people have to sell.
They do.
So what's your advice for someone if they have to sell?
Well, I have a whole lot of it, of course, because that's what we do. But do it at the right time.
Sure.
Do it with the right guy. That might be me, or it might be somebody else. We can talk about who that might be, and make the most out of it. Like I firmly believe in pre-inspections. I firmly believe in staging. I firmly believe in investing in the house to get it to its highest level, so it sells for the very most. Don't leave money on the table because you didn't replace your flooring or upgrade your kitchen or do whatever.
And we have a solution for that. Like, you don't have to come out of pocket for those kinds of things.
Yeah.
If you're not wanting to invest in it out of pocket, or you don't have access to the cash to do it, the concierge program will help cover the cost of things like that. We invest in our sellers, right?
Yeah.
We put money into that because we feel strongly that that's going to pay off and get them more money in the long run.
Well, and I think the Democrat in me really just loves the program because some people just don't have the money. And I know you've heard me say this, but like I really mean it. Like it's important, and like having the money or not having the money shouldn't make a difference. If you have the equity, we can jam on it.
The other thing, my advice would be, is make sure that you're marketing it well, right? There's still a lot of shocking number of people that are posting iPhone photos online, and they're not making an active effort to market the home. So make sure, if you are going to sell and you feel like you need to sell, that you are doing a thorough job of vetting your realtor, getting someone with experience, getting with someone who is going to do the things that ultimately pay off in you getting more money in your pocket.
Yeah, your home having a professional appearance really everywhere, I think, makes a huge difference.
It's changed. I mean, it used to be that people would get away with things and it wasn't a big deal, but in this day and age, you just can't get away with that kind of stuff anymore.
No, you really can't. And I keep thinking about that agent who told us, why would you do that in this market? You don't need to do all that to sell a home, and the big difference is you do it because
it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. We get paid a lot of money for our services, and we spend a lot of money trying to sell homes, and we do it all professional. And we do it so instead of getting one offer, you might get 10. Not really anymore. You might get 3. We don't get 10 offers as often. Well, we had that one on Season
You had one this year? Yeah, we've had some.
Yeah, but it used to be all the time. Yeah. Now it's less so.
What about buyers? We've talked a little bit about this, but okay.
Yeah.
What's your advice for buyers in today's market, September 2019?
Yeah, buyers, I think you need to jump in. Look, rates are low. They're not. I don't see them getting. They may go lower. Who knows? But they're not going to get a lot lower. I think Austin is raging with jobs coming to town. I think it's a safe time to buy. I think it's a good time for everybody, really.
Cool. Yeah. Also, I think we've talked about this off and on, and we've had varying opinions about it. Talk to me a little bit about how buyers should source homes.
Yeah. So it used to be a long time ago. Well, I'd say maybe about 5 years ago. That really the MLS was it. Like, that's where homes were. And over the years, as we've had more celebrities come to town, we started doing this off-market stuff. Cord Shiflett really started doing a whole lot of that years ago with his properties, and he had success with it. But it was really reserved for celebrities and people who wanted to keep their homes secret.
High wealth and people that need to have some privacy in their transaction and don't want things to be so transparent and public.
They want to keep it on the hush hush for whatever reason, and now everybody's off market.
Hey, Stephanie.
Hey, how are you? There's all kinds of off market properties. Last time I counted it, I think it was 400 and something properties.
Yeah.
That were off market and easily searchable. And I didn't even go look at like all the little places to look. I just looked at the top 3.
And the thing of it is the average buyer, I mean, I think a lot of people go to the aggregator websites, and I'm talking about Zillow or Trulia or Redfin or whatever, and they're looking there for homes. But what I think a lot of people don't really realize is that there's this huge volume of properties, and they're not all super high end. I mean, there's a lot of more luxury homes, but not all of them. And people are missing out. So if you're not using a realtor that has access to these things, and a lot of them are pay, like you've got to pay to get access,
and an application,
and you have to apply, and it's not necessarily cheap. So a lot of realtors are not going to spend that kind of money to have access to those listings. So if you are looking for something and you're not finding what what you want on the current market, reach out to us or to another realtor and ask about how to source things off market. And one of those sources you can see online. I just want to point out to everyone, go to compass.com. We have almost 300 agents now in Austin, and everybody's listing their homes on the Compass website before it goes into the MLS. And so you can see a lot of things that are coming soon.
Yeah.
We're connected to all those agents with our network. We're able to reach out and get you information, maybe even in some cases get you into those properties. The life with a puppy. That's her destroying stuff behind us with all that noise.
She's playing with toys that Ellis and Lennon have really grown out of.
So anyway, if you're not finding something, check compass.com for coming soons, or reach out to us and we can tap into those sources that we do pay to have access to get you properties that are available.
Yeah.
Well, anything else to add?
I just think it's really cool that our company has it as a public searchable,
I do too.
coming soon thing, and private exclusives on there, and everywhere else you really got to pay to play. So we're trying to open it up.
Yeah, Compass gives you that stuff without having to
makes me
have a
makes me a little proud.
They don't have a gatekeeper keeping the average person out of that. Anybody else, anybody out in the public could access it. So, well, that concludes episode whatever, we can't remember, of Calls with Paul.
Maybe we'll be better prepared next time.
Well, I wouldn't, if I wasn't having the tech problems, I would be more prepared.
It's not a dig on you, babe.
So anyway, thank you for joining us. We hope you all have a wonderful September. Next week, please tune in. We have a guest, Alejandro Juarez from the Juarez Group is going to be joining us, and he's going to talk a little bit about the finances involved with your transaction. You get these closing sheets and these net sheets, and you don't, maybe I'm kind of I'm not a numbers person. So I look at it, I'm like, I don't know what any of this means. He's going to walk us through it so that everyone can understand when they're going into a closing what those sheets are and what they're looking at. So see you next week, and we will know the episode by then.
It'll be a next episode.
Next episode.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. See you.
Thanks, you guys.